Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. You straight gangsters over here,
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, welcome back to this beautiful Monday morning. You are listening to Scout Team Sports. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
And the man on the other mic, you know him as the great patriot himself.
Yeah, it's your boy Chris America coming to you live this January 13th. Is it Monday the 13th, Loudbeard?
Nope, it's the 14th.
Nope, 14th. 14th.
I don't even know why you're trying
January
to do this.
the 14th.
That's horrible,
as we
bro.
celebrate,
So
as we
bad.
celebrate this Monday with a win by Patrick LeVon Mahomes, the league MVP. Loudbeard, it had been 25 years since the Kansas City Chiefs seen their team win at Arrowhead. The last time they saw their team win at Arrowhead, they had no idea that the next quarterback to lead them to prominence wasn't even born yet. And alas, the hero that they did not know they wanted is the hero that they need. And
Is this
since he has
thing
to take
on?
on the mighty Patriots, it's the hero that all of us need. Patrick LeVon Mahomes II. You're the man.
All right, Chris America, I have one thing that I need to ask you.
Hey, I'm just here so I won't get fined. Hey, I'm just here so I won't get
It's really not a question.
He always goes into a rant, man. Good morning, brother.
You got to let him rant, though.
Congratulations,
Just got to let him
Mahomes.
rant.
You gotta come in hot
Yeah, I
on a
know.
Monday
I
morning,
know.
man.
I
Monday
know it.
motivation. Nothing brings me more motivation than Patrick LeVon Mahomes II.
Hey, man. Congratulations. Mahomes is the real deal. He's the real deal. I mean, man, he looks unstoppable. Kansas City. You think after they lost Kareem Hunt that they would take a step back? They haven't slowed down. It doesn't even look like Kareem Hunt was even part of the team. You know what I'm saying? So, wow. I hope they can take on the mighty, mighty Patriots next week. I hope they can pull it off. I hope
It's
so.
more than just hope. It's a real good feeling because that Patrick Mahomes, he's a good quarterback for the Chiefs. Now, I have a question for you, Chris America, and you may know this answer. And Golden Ghost, man with the golden mic, you can chime in also. But who was the last quarterback to win a home game in Arrowhead 25 years ago? The man before Patrick Mahomes. He's kind of a little bit of a historic guy.
I have a good guess.
Well, there have been a couple of people before Patrick Mahomes. But
Well, 25 years
No,
ago,
the last
playoff
person to win
game
a
that was
home
won.
playoff game.
Yes.
ooh,
I know
that's a
it.
tough one.
All right, Chris America, give it
Who
to
you
us.
got?
It is one Joseph. Hold on. Joe Montana.
He's got to do the full name
I
with the
gotta
middle
give the
name.
full-
He's going to add a
Joseph?
junior or senior.
Joseph Clifford Montana Jr.
I like it, Montana.
Montana. That's how he actually pronounces
Joe
it. Me and him
Montana, known
me and
as
Joseph are good buddies.
That's not the
one
way
of the greatest
he
of all
pronounces
times.
it.
Probably the GOAT before Tom Brady started playing football. The GOAT, Joe Montana. That's what it took for the Chiefs to win at Arrowhead. And now we have the new regime, and that would be your baby GOAT, Patrick Mahomes, Chris America.
baby
And see,
goat.
you guys don't know this because you're not good friends with Joseph like I am, but his actual like PS4 login when he plays Madden is Joey Money Time.
Oh,
Good to know.
Yes.
Good to know.
you sure?
I'm positive. We play
I'm not
every
gonna
weekend.
question-
Man. We play Madden. He always picks weirdly. He always picks the Seattle Seahawks. Says he likes that Russell Wilson guy.
That's good to hear.
Oh, okay.
So
That's fine.
we like to get social and interactive with our listeners on Twitter. We're at Scout Team Radio. Over the weekend, we got a tweet at us, and it was from our good friend Ian Sports Takes. Ian said, I wonder if Scout Team's going to start off Monday morning talking about the Magic beating the Rockets or the greatness of Patrick Mahomes. Well, the answer is already clear.
There you go.
Patrick Mahomes coming in hot. Very first segment of the day is Chris America talking about how he is in love with this 20-year-old young man.
He's a good guy, man. He's a good kid to root for.
And how old is he? Is he 20,
him?
21, 22? He's young. Very young. 22, I'm guessing. Is that a good guess? I would ask the president of the fan club. He would probably know all the statistics, all the details, right?
I thought he was the president of the fan club.
He is. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Oh, well, guys.
Patrick Mahomes was born in 1995, September 7th.
Wow.
Holy crap.
Makes you feel old.
That
Great weekend of
So
football,
he's 24,
though.
So he'll be 24 this year.
Oh, that's not bad. 23 right
Not
now.
too much
Will
of
be
a baby.
24. Yeah.
You know, every time I feel old at 35, I just listen to people talk about how young Sean McVay is, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm Sean McVay's age, so I'm young.
Holy crap. We're Sean McVay's age?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sean McVay got his first coaching gig at age 30. I mean, being a head coach at age 30, that's pretty unbelievable, and he is not disappointed, not one bit.
Yeah, he's born. His birthday is actually coming up, January 24th, 1986. And, he became the youngest coach ever to win a playoff game. So congrats to Sean McVay. There's a youth movement in the National Football League.
So I'm older than Sean McVay? What am I doing with my life?
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
you guys, we gotta get you out of this spiral because now we're all gonna feel old. I want to cheer
I
you
don't
up,
feel
Golden
old
Ghost.
anymore. Now
I
that
wanna
everybody
cheer
says like
up
Sean
Golden
McVay is so young, it makes me feel young. I am young just like Sean McVay.
Okay.
If I was an NFL coach, I'd be super young.
All right. Well, if you were an NFL coach and your name was Sean McVay and you won a playoff game, who would you have won that playoff game against?
The Dallas Cowgirls.
Does that make you feel better now, Golden Ghost? Does that make you feel better? Your Dallas Cowboys go in to Los Angeles.
Don't you do that.
Okay, you do not like the Cowboys. But the Dallas Cowboys, they go into Los Angeles, and they face that Sean McVay-led Los Angeles Rams, and they do not come out with a victory. The Rams, they hold this one tight pretty much throughout. They finish it with a 30-22 win. What were your thoughts on this one? Golden Ghost, I'm going to start with you because you like to throw out a lot of good memes on the social media because you are not a big Cowboys fan. What was your emotions like when this game was over?
It's like a weight had lifted off my shoulders. Because for a long time, actually for a week, I was very afraid that Dallas would make it to an NFC championship and luck up to a Super Bowl. And me being who I am, us being who we are, that would have been just devastating for us, the show, the whole country for the most part. Dallas is Dallas, and we can't let them win, you know? So I'm proud to say that I paid those refs. I paid them. I don't give a crap. I did what I had to do.
How big was that bag of money?
I did it for the good of the country. It was bigger than Jerry Jones. It wasn't bigger than Jerry Jones, but I stole his yacht and sold it, and that's how we paid for the refs. I'm not overly happy about it, but I did what I had to do for the betterment of the country, America.
God bless America.
God bless America.
What about you, Chris America? What did you feel when the Dallas Cowboys were handed that loss?
I felt pretty good. I was kind of the disappointment was the game wasn't good at all. It was kind of a ho-hum game. Now the Cowboys did make a charge back, and they sort of made a game of it, and that was kind of the story of this playoffs is a team will jump out in the lead, and then they'll kind of just soften up a little bit, and then the team behind starts roaring back, and people are like, "Oh, look at the comeback," and it just falls short because you can't fall behind that much in the playoffs. But all in all, it felt pretty good. I'm glad to see some new blood in the NFC Championship, and this was just a day of like a weekend of history because it was 25 years since the Chiefs won at home, it had been like 33 or 35 years since the Cowboys and the Rams met in the playoffs, which is crazy because they've met 8 times. So all those times was in the 80s and 70s. So it's kind of cool to see a new matchup that we haven't seen in our lifetime, really. And, so it's kind of good to see a new guard, and that's kind of going to be the theme, I think, going into next weekend in the NFC. It's going to be the new guard at quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, versus the old guard in Tom Brady. And then you got kind of a new guard in Sean McVay versus the old guard in Sean Payton. Sean Payton.
Yeah, and you could do the same thing with the quarterbacks, the new guard Jared Goff and the old guard
that's right.
Drew Brees.
You're right.
It goes both ways. I will say
I brought up that a couple of weeks ago, and you guys laughed at me about it.
Yeah, we always laugh at you.
It was a lot of young quarterback. I know, you jackrabbits. But either way, go back to Dallas just for 1 minute.
Yeah,
Are we all
absolutely.
on a board that Dak Prescott doesn't have the juice? I'm just throwing it out there. I don't think he has it. Under Dak, I don't think they will ever win a Super Bowl. I don't think Dak will win a Super Bowl.
Only if we say that Andrew Luck and Phillip Rivers don't have the juice either.
Absolutely. Phillip Rivers, for the last time, has disappointed me. I'm never going to bet on Phillip Rivers ever again. Ever again. I'm sorry. I think it's time for him to retire now. I mean, this is probably the furthest he's ever been, right? I think he has been to an AFC Championship. I want to say he has. But either way,
Maybe
I think it's time
once.
for him to roll.
Maybe once. But
yeah, maybe once.
This is sort of what the Chargers do, is they put together a really great season, everybody buys in, and then they fall flat somewhere in the playoffs. And it's usually
to the Patriots.
New England Patriots. I think they're like 0-6 or 0-7, somewhere around there against New England. This was supposed to be their year to overcome that hump, to get that monkey off of their back. It was supposed to be Phillip Rivers' year to beat Tom Brady. Everybody bought in, man. We bought in. The national media bought in. Everybody was buying in. It was, Tom Brady's bad. He's not a top 5. Some were even saying he's not a top 10 quarterback anymore. The Patriots are having a bad year. And I'm sitting there, like, looking at the Patriots, sitting on a bye week with the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs, going, what am I missing? If this is a bad year, I want my team to have a bad year like the Patriots.
I mean, once the playoffs start, you know you'll see a different team. You know, especially like you say, they got a bye week, man. They were sitting back, relaxing, watching. You know, Belichick is one of the best coaches ever, so you know he was prepared. And we should have known better. We should have said, "Wait a minute, are we really going to take Chargers over Patriots?" Like, let's take a step back. I think we just got overly happy and was like, it's the year that Patriots are going down. But like you said, if this is a bad year, I want plenty of bad years if I was an NFL coach bye week going into the playoffs. We should have known better. And I'm sorry. I got to say sorry because I hate on the Patriots all the time, but I'm sorry. And I'm sorry, Rivers, I will never bet on you again. It's time for you to retire, my friend.
It's okay. It's okay. I think we were all feeling that the Chargers were going to have an opportunity to do something here in the playoffs, and we always get disappointed by Phillip Rivers, but, I mean, I fell on that sword too. I thought the Chargers could upset the Patriots in Foxborough. On Friday's show, we talked about how tough it was to go into Foxborough to get a win, and we knew it wouldn't be an easy task for the Chargers. We just didn't realize how bad the Patriots were just going to trounce on the Chargers. And I love a good underdog story, and this weekend was disappointing when you look at the underdogs, and specifically in this Chargers-Patriots game, we as a nation, other than fans of New England, I think are tired of that New England story. We're ready to see other teams go in and win, but New England is always there. And Chris America, I have to give you credit because you predicted the Patriots and you said, you know what? I can never bet against New England because they always are in it and they're always good. And when you have Belichick and you have Brady, you have a chance. And New England looked better, bigger and better than ever against the Chargers.
Yeah, one of the things that's been fascinating about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in this 20-year run is that when it comes playoff times, no matter all of the stuff that you hear in the regular season, what was it, like 3 or 4 years ago when they won the Super Bowl, Tom Brady had lost it. Like the first 6 or 8 weeks, the Brady just wasn't looking that great. And, it's Tom Brady lost a step. He's old. He's whatever. And then they go off and they win a Super Bowl. And one of the hardest thing to do in sports, you want to talk about home field advantage, there are really – I really don't believe in it most of the time, except for the Patriots and New Orleans with Drew Brees and everything else, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But when it comes to playing in Foxborough come playoff time, you don't have to bring your A game. If you can figure out what is above an A game, you have to find that to beat the Patriots. I don't know what that is. If it's an AA game, if it's an A++ game, whatever it is, you need to find it because they play lights out in Foxborough come playoff time.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is not an opponent in the NFL that likes to go into Foxborough and play. And we talk about Arrowhead being such an advantage. Well, the Chiefs were struggling to win playoff games in Arrowhead. The Patriots, under this 20-year regime when you've had Brady and Belichick, there has never been a struggle to win games in Foxborough. And I don't know what their record is at home in the playoffs, but I would kind of believe that it's a pretty darn good record. And looking at the success over the years, I mean, I think of Tom Brady's age, and I think, okay, eventually he's going to have to fall off that cliff, right? He is the one guy that has defied the odds and time. And, we saw it with Peyton Manning a few years ago, a guy that looked like he was unstoppable, gets a little bit of an injury bug, and all of a sudden he has no arm strength, and he wasn't the same guy. Tom Brady looked just as good when he was playing over the weekend than he looked 10 years ago. The guy doesn't look like he has aged a second. It is so great to see, and you got to say that this guy knows how to take care of his body. He knows how to train. He knows how to prepare, and it doesn't look like the fall off is coming anytime soon, even though the media and everybody jumps all over it thinking eventually it's got to happen, right? Eventually he's got to fall off.
And, I mean, the only guy that I saw on the field that had a fall off from this Patriots team was Rob Gronkowski. He's the only person that's really disappeared, but Tom Brady still makes it happen without Rob Gronkowski. People forget that there was a life for the Patriots before Rob Gronkowski, and it seems like there's a life afterwards. I mean, Rob had one target. He had one catch for 25 yards, and that's it. Julian Edelman and James White, they combined for 24 receptions, which is insane to think that one guy had 9 receptions for 151 yards and the other guy had 15 for 97 yards. And they just find guys to throw the ball to. If one guy's out, Brady will find another guy open.
Yeah, it was a coaching. It was a quarterback clinic again. It was just he looks unstoppable. Let's just be honest right here. We are all rooting for Kansas City next week. But in the back of your mind, you know that you can't count out the Patriots. You just can't. And I hope that Kansas City defense steps up. I really do. Because they have holes in them that with the right time and patience, Brady and Belichick will exploit. So I hope we all hope that Kansas City is ready. But in the back of our minds, we know you can't count out the Patriots ever. And
no, you can't.
This week last week proved it.
There is a sliver of hope, though. The Patriots have to go to Kansas City, and the Patriots' record this season is 3-5. And I'm sure if you look at most of the times when the Patriots have lost in the playoffs, it's been on the road. We talked about how great their home record is, but a lot of their records, I mean, I remember they lost to Denver at Denver when Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl. I think when Baltimore won the Super Bowl, that was in Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken. I know they've lost in Baltimore a few times, if my memory serves me correctly. So that works out for the for the Chiefs in beating them. And the biggest surprise this weekend, I think, is we've trashed the Rams defense, we've trashed the Chiefs defense, and a lot of times I think we've trashed the New England's defense, saying that they're not that great. All three of those defenses this weekend they played lights out, man. When playoff time comes,
Yeah.
everybody buckles their helmet a little tighter. They tie their laces, a little bit stronger, and they just go out and hit a lot harder. And I was impressed with those three defenses this weekend because they shut out Andrew Luck, Dak Prescott, and Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Impressive performances by far there. And you look at it on the other side, like the Chargers defense that was supposed to be good going in, had a great regular season, comes in the playoffs, and they totally lay an egg. And so the teams with the defenses that you're worried about step up, and the teams with the defenses that you think you can count on end up dropping the ball. And, that's one of those things where it's about coaching, and it's about experience, and it's about that veteran leadership, and there's these intangibles that go to that you don't realize. Like this Chargers team, they have a lot of young players. We talk about Bosa and Melvin Ingram on the defensive line. Those were like the big studs for the I almost said San Diego again. The Chargers, the LA Chargers, that should have been the difference makers. Well, they're not difference makers when Tom Brady's throwing these short slants and just these hot routes and just getting the ball out quick, and they can't do anything, and they totally get exploited. And it was on the broadcast, it was unbelievable how they talked about that zone defense, how the Chargers ran a zone defense all year long, and Tom Brady is great at the zone defense. The Chargers had let the most receptions up to running backs, and James White's getting 15 receptions in this game, and the Chargers never adapted. They never changed their scheme, and Tom Brady just picked them apart all day. And you think, on a coaching standpoint, Belichick for the Patriots, which that defense, they've had some downs this year. That defense, they ran a Baltimore Ravens-like defense where they were doing the full-on blitz, and it was a complete different scheme than they had ever run in the playoffs before. And Phillip Rivers and the San Diego Chargers offensive line, they weren't ready for that. He was under attack the whole game. And to me, it wasn't about the defense as much as it was about coaching. You could tell that Belichick out-coached in so many different ways, and that's where that defense got to hold it up. And you look over with the Rams, same thing. Rams, Chiefs, they all looked like these dynamite defenses, and I think it's all contributed to coaching. You got Andy Reid and you got Sean McVay, which jury's still out on Sean McVay, except the fact that everybody thinks he's the next coming of Bill Belichick or the next coming of whatever great coach that you want to throw out there on that list. But great coaching with Sean McVay, great with Andy Reid, great with Bill Belichick.
And you think about it, if he is the next Bill Belichick, you better hope you like him because he's going to be around for at least 35 years. Most coaches retire around 70, so he's, 34?
Yeah,
he'll be around for quite a while.
Yeah, so he's 32. So 35 years, he'll be 67. He'll be as old as Bill Belichick in 35 years. Think about that.
We got a long way to go, my friend. It could be some Rams dominance for quite a while if he continues on this path. I mean, to me, he reminds me a lot of like a Sean Payton. Maybe it's because of the younger generation. Maybe it's harder to compare with Belichick. But, he brings such a I guess he's just like a tenacious coach. He brings a lot of energy and enthusiasm. And what he's doing is working. And when that's working, it's easy to put him up on that pedestal and say he'll be around forever. Now, every coach has their ups and downs, and I say every coach. Bill Belichick's downs are very seldom, but he was fired from the Browns at one point or left the Browns to go to the Patriots. So he's had ups probably every season since then, but every coach has ups and downs. And Sean McVay will have his downs, but where he's heading, wow, the future looks bright for this one.
You know what he reminds me of, and I'm not saying he's headed down this road, but remember Josh McDaniels back in the day? Like with the Denver Broncos, Josh McDaniels. I'm just saying, he reminds me of a little bit of him. Like early success.
So?
I'm just saying he had early success.
Josh McDaniels never had success.
No, he had an early success. Come on, man. Don't do him like that. His first couple of years are pretty
He never
decent.
made the playoffs.
I'm just saying he was still fiery, young. He had a lot going for him. I just saying I don't hope it goes that way. Like he's you achieve that early success and then you kind of fall off. So I don't want that to happen to the guy. I like him. I like what he's doing. So
I think Josh
hopefully
McDaniels' success was more as a coordinator, but I see what you're saying is he's this young, hyped-up guy with a ton of energy. McVay is like that, except McVay has seen that success early on, where McDaniels, I don't think, was given the opportunity in Denver. I think they cut ties a little too quickly on McDaniels. But
I don't know.
I can kind of see the
he was
comparison.
11-17. He was 11-17 at Denver. He was 8-8 his first season. So maybe that early success was he brought a bad team and brought them to 8-8, and then the bottom kind of fell out his second year because he didn't put Tim Tebow in. So they went 3-9.
Do you think that's why though? I mean,
I think it would have helped him a little bit. I mean, I don't know why he didn't put his rookie quarterback, the guy that he drafted in the first round, in. Once Fox finally did it,
I always
they went
thought
to the
that was
playoffs.
his downfall. I always thought that was his downfall, actually. Like drafting Tim Tebow when so many other people kind of passed him over. So I always kind of thought that was his downfall, not his bright point.
You know, Tim Tebow was their
We'll never know.
second first-round draft pick. The first-round draft pick that year was Demaryius Thomas.
Yep.
So I'd say that was a pretty good draft for the Broncos. I don't think they gave him a chance. That's less than 2 years as a head coach in the NFL.
Yeah, you got to give him a chance.
It just doesn't seem like it's enough. I get that you have to have a winning culture, but sometimes you have to weather a couple bad years to get to some good ones.
Every situation is different. Like, I feel like the Rams were a talented team when Sean McVay came in, where the Denver Broncos weren't. Like,
right.
there was no Todd Gurley or, who else was on that team, the wide receiver. There was a good wide receiver on that team that everybody loved to have on your fantasy team, but the Rams were just awful because of Jeff Fisher. I can't remember who that receiver was, though. It wasn't Cooks. That's the only name that comes to mind.
What year? What year again?
The last 2 years that Jeff Fisher was the head coach.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. It gets to be a blur sometimes with which players are on what teams because they move around so much. But Jeff Fisher was he took a team and he underperformed, and then it made it easy for Sean McVay to overperform because of the amount of talent. The Rams have a ton of talent.
Much better, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It does. It makes them look so much better. So another thing about this playoff weekend that I wanted to throw out is Julian Edelman. He moves up to second all-time in postseason receptions, and he moves ahead of guys like Wes Welker, Hines Ward, Reggie Wayne, and he's right now behind Jerry Rice. So he's second behind Jerry Rice. Well, I was surprised.
You should have said he moves ahead of every single wide receiver you can think of except Jerry Rice.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's usually how that works. But
you could throw out names like Michael Irving, Randy Moss. Who else? Who else is out there? Just start throwing out wide receiver names, and he's above that, which is insane. Yeah. When I heard that stat yesterday, I was like, "Wow, that's crazy."
It threw me off a little bit. I was like, "Are we sure? Do we need to stat check this because it didn't feel right?" Did it?
I want to. Yeah, it doesn't feel right.
Because it doesn't even feel like he's been in New England that long.
But I think he's been there a lot longer than we give him credit, and I think every time there's a playoff game, he gets 9 to 10 receptions. Like Tom Brady loves him.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah,
he
want to say that this is
filled in as Welker immediately.
And Tom Brady reached another milestone that you can put in his feather and his cap to claim the greatest. Tom Brady now has 28 playoff wins. Peyton Manning has 27 playoff starts.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That puts it into
bad
perspective
stat.
For you.
God dang it!
That almost seems like one of those records
deep.
that'll be able to stand for a very, very long time.
There's one quarterback I can think of right now that may be able to beat it.
Jared Goff, you're right. With Sean McVay as coach, Jared Goff might be the guy that could do it. Good call, Chris America.
Hey, Jared Goff and Patrick
I'm just
Mahomes,
saying, dude.
They're both young enough and set up with a talented enough team. But, I say it all the time. You got to win today because tomorrow's never promised. So if you're in the playoffs right now, you got to win now.
And we've seen great quarterbacks within their first 5 years do great things and then disappear. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
Aaron-
that's going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen. Don't you go there.
Aaron Rodgers
Don't
is
you
the name
go
that comes to
there.
mind.
Look, man, we got a new coach. Hopefully we draft the running back this year. We'll be all right.
And for those
We'll be
keeping
all right.
score, what is his name? Why can't I think of it right now? The Baltimore Ravens quarterback.
Joe
Anyways,
Flacco.
tune in on the other
Lamar
side of the
Jackson.
break. Tune in the other
Get
side of
outta
the break
here.
for my ridiculous stat that I'm going to give as soon as I remember his name.
Jackson, you clown. What's wrong with you?
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. Ah, 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst.
Scout Team listeners and friends of the show, I've got something special for you. It looks like 12-Ounce Sports Radio has done it again. We have partnered with Rally House. You just go to the website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner on the right side of the page, and it will take you directly to Rally House. Rally House has some of the greatest, most unique sports items for that diehard fan, casual fan, and anybody and everybody out there that is special in your life. So go ahead and check it out. Once again, go to that website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner to the right of the page, and you will get taken to the best sports merchandise website on all of the interweb.
Ring Central features all-in-one phone, messaging, and video conferencing. It's easy to use with unparalleled security. Ring Central simplifies things so you can grow. Call Ring Central to speak with a representative about a price for your growing business at 877-779-3860. Again, that's 877-779-3860.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Thank you for tuning in. You are listening to Scout Team Sports. I'm Loudbeard. He's Chris America. He's the Golden Ghost. We're bringing it to you hot and live like we do each and every weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. and replay on at 11 a.m. on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. Also available is our podcast. Podcast hits daily right after the show is done live. We record it. We throw out the podcast. It's available on Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, and anywhere you can find a podcast, including our website, scoutteamradio.com. Also, we like to get social. We like to get interactive. If you want to interact with us on social media, the best way to do so is hitting us up on Twitter at Scout Team Radio. We will read your tweets live on the air. We will talk about your topics. We will discuss your thoughts, all at Scout Team Radio on Twitter. Well, gentlemen, after this amazing weekend of football, I'm ready for some ridiculous stats. And the one guy I look at when I need to get a ridiculous stat is you, Chris America. You're patriotic, and you are the man when it comes to ridiculous stats.
They call me Chris Statistician America. So the name of that quarterback is one Mr. Joseph Vincent Flacco. Has 10 playoff wins.
Oh.
One Mr. Aaron Charles Rodgers has 9.
Wow. Can you go ahead and repeat that? I want it to simmer for a moment. I need it to
Yes.
simmer. I need it to soak in a little bit. Say that one more time.
Yes, Josie Vinny Football Flacco. That's what they call him, Vinny Football. Has 10 playoff wins. He's actually 10-5. Has a 66% win percentage to Aaron Charles Rodgers.
Aaron
He
Chuck
has
Rodgers.
9. He has 9. He's
9.
9-7. He's 9-7
so
in
let
the
me ask
playoffs. Yes.
Go ahead and ask us.
You bring up this stat.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying that Rodgers is no better than Flacco? Is that what you're saying? Like, I just want to get to where your point is.
I would say in the playoffs, Joe Flacco has the same number of Super Bowl championships, a better win percentage than Aaron Rodgers, and this is just all I'm saying. You make of that whatever you will, but I think it's time to take a step back and look at Aaron Rodgers' legacy and say, yeah, he's a great regular season quarterback, but postseason, no, man, he's 56% win percentage. Drew Brees, kind of the same way. He's 8-6 in the playoffs. Eli Manning and Russell Wilson have a better winning percentage than Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees. And they combined for more Super Bowls, too.
Did you say Drew Brees only has 8 wins in the playoffs?
Yeah,
So
Drew Brees right now, unless it wasn't updated. It might not have been updated till last night, but he's 8-6 in the playoffs according to this. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I would assume that they updated this.
Yeah.
So he's either 8-6 or 9-6. One of the two.
Well, that's just showing us how good Joe Flacco's been. I mean, if he's up there with the same stats as Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees, I mean, Joe Flacco is better than advertised, and Aaron Rodgers, yeah, he's got some more to prove.
Yeah.
All right. I see what we want to argue about this, and I'm not going to argue. I'm just going to say this. After watching so much football over, 20, 30 years watching and participating in football, you have to look at a quarterback or even players in general for what they are. And I get stats mean something, but what's surrounding you, who's coaching you matters also.
Listen,
I'm not saying Mike McCarthy is gone and we get a new coach.
Oh, he's
I'm
the fall
worried with
guy
that.
now. It's all McCarthy's
No,
fault.
he's not the fall guy. No, he's not the fall guy. Aaron Rodgers has to take a little bit of onus on that. But I've seen Aaron Rodgers do amazing things. And I get it. Records matter. Stats matter. But as far as a pure player, as a pure quarterback, Flacco is nowhere near where Rodgers is. And if you watch football, and if you watch those two guys for over the years, and you think that they are the same caliber quarterback, you're not really watching football. You just
nobody's saying anything of
I'm just
that.
saying.
All you got to
you want to start a fight, and I want to fight you right now. I'm just saying.
All I'm saying is, for as good as Aaron Rodgers is, he doesn't have as many postseason wins as Joe Flacco. That's all I'm saying. And
I'll get
like
it, but in the end of the day, it's
goes,
still a team sport, though.
Like the old saying goes, champions have titles and losers have excuses.
That's true. That is so
I
true.
can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see you. I just can't wait to see you.
Well,
No,
gentlemen, we've spent
wanna
39 minutes on the show. We haven't even talked about the Saints versus the Eagles, and that was probably the best game of the
That's
weekend.
the best place to go next,
was
my
one
friend,
of the
because you're
best
talking
games
about
of the
great
Eagles.
quarterbacks. Nick Foles and Drew Brees. Those are great quarterbacks right there. And
Two
that
of the
game
best.
last night was the
I like
best.
Nick Foles. Yeah, Nick Foles. He almost did it. He came close, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I think they're completely happy with the switch that occurred because I don't think Wentz would have got them this far. I know that he's got a phantom injury and everything, and that was the excuse. But like we all know the truth, right? They set him because they needed a spark, and that's what happened with Foles. He gave them a spark, and he got them this close. So I have nothing against the Eagles. I have nothing against Foles. I like Foles. And next year, the truth will come out. Somebody's not going to be in Philadelphia next year. And I think it might be Wentz.
Yeah.
That's a good take there.
I think at the very least, Wentz would have done the exact same job Foles did in the playoffs.
You think so?
I think at the very least, or at the very most, I should say. At the very most, Wentz would have done the exact same job Foles did. I said this.
Well, let's talk
last
about the
year.
game first. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I say let's talk about the game first because this is going to be a long conversation because we're going to upset some people. We're going to get in. People are going to start adding us real quick because, like I said, Wentz. I think he may have been too rattled, and I think that may have hurt his confidence to get. What did he say? I didn't know I had an injury until the internet told me so. Mm-hmm. I think something's going on.
But he's been
there,
out for several weeks. I don't think the Wentz conversation goes into the game. I mean, the Wentz part,
it does.
He has a fractured vertebrae that was shown on an X-ray. I don't know if I'd call that phantom. And Foles he's played the last couple regular season games. He got him to the playoffs. He got him past the first round of the playoffs. And honestly, he was bringing them to a comeback win or a potential comeback win in this game. He was driving them down the field. He was throwing the ball exactly where it needed to be. And a devastating play at the end of the game, a heartbreaking play where Alshon Jeffrey does the unthinkable and lets the ball slip right through his hands as it goes to the New Orleans defender. And at that point, it ended the Eagles season. And you look at that, and Foles, this was not on him. He was bringing that team back. He looked great throughout the game. Now, the offense sputtered a little bit after the first couple scores. It seems like they couldn't get it going. But this wasn't on Foles. Foles could have very easily brought them back and won that game if it wasn't for that one mistake. And you could see it on Alshon Jeffrey's face. After that happened, he could tell that this was on him.
Yeah, we talked about the coaching, being brilliant between Bill Belichick and Sean McVay. What Sean Payton did with his coaching staff to make the quick adjustment within the game, didn't even wait till halftime. I mean, the Eagles jumped on the Saints fast. Before you knew it, it was 14-0. We were thinking, man, is Foles really going to run away with this thing? Are the Saints just like another farce team? But they made the adjustments, and then they just ran and dictated everything that happened in that game all the way up until that final drive that you talked about where Foles was moving the ball. The Eagles looked like this was going to happen. They were going to do it to the Saints again. The Saints were going to lose in the final minutes or the final seconds of a game, just like they did last year. It's happening to the Saints again in the same round. But like you said, Alshon Jeffrey, man, Alshon Jeffrey is a solid wide receiver. It was very surprising to see him miss that ball, and the looks on the Eagles' faces did remind me of the looks on the Saints' faces last year when they saw that crazy miracle in Minnesota.
Oh,
yeah.
Big time, man. And
just everybody was in total disbelief as to what just happened.
And you talk about the coaching. I have to bring this up. The choice to go for it on that 4th-and-1 play with the fake punt when you're on your own 30-yard line for the Saints early in that game, that was kind of that turning point because at that point they were down 14-0, and the Eagles had basically gotten them off the field, and the Saints drive down and get a touchdown after that play. That was brilliant. A brilliant move by Sean Payton. It didn't surprise me. They have Taysom Hill, who is this kind of Tim Tebow-like big quarterback that can run and do a lot of different things. He's kind of that multi-facet athlete that they just can use for anything on the field. And when you got a guy like Drew Brees at quarterback, it's got to be hard to put in another quarterback. But Sean Payton's not afraid to do something like that, to mix it up. And he did. He threw curveballs at the Eagles the rest of the game, and they battled back. And big win for the Saints. I mean, congratulations to that team. But the coaching of Sean Payton definitely needs to be at the forefront of this win.
And you know what's crazy about them using Taysom Hill? Like the 2006 Gators would use Chris Leak and Tim Tebow. For the 2006 Gators, they kind of needed Tim Tebow because they didn't have like a dangerous running back to help them out in the running game on those short down situations. But the Saints do have two really good running backs, and you know, Alvin Kamara could run the Wildcat as good or better than anybody in the league. So to have the wherewithal to put this Taysom Hill kid in and have him run it rather than Kamara is just another weapon. You have a 53-man roster. You have a kid that can do these kinds of things for you. And there was one play where they finally faked the run, and he threw a laser down the field for a touchdown. Now, unfortunately, there was a holding on that play, so that touchdown got erased. But you have that kind of weapon on your team, and Peyton's not afraid to use it.
And that ball was thrown to Kamara, who, as a running back, he has to be a great receiver also. They make these players not just do one thing right. They have to be able to do multiple things. And Taysom Hill has to be able to run. He has to be able to pass. He has to be able to do all of that if he wants to get on the field. And he's doing it, and he's doing it well. Same thing when you look at Kamara. Kamara's a great running back. He's a great receiver. They line him out in the slot a lot. I mean, this team is fun to watch. And as for a defense, imagine having to defend all of that. That's got to be tough.
Yeah, it is tough, and it was good to see that. I mean, give the Eagles credit, too. We're sitting here talking about how great the Saints' offense is. They held them to 20 points. Their defense held them to a place where Nick Foles could be in a position to come back and win. So, honestly, guys, I'm excited about this AFC, NFC championship conference title games because
1 and 2
I can't.
Should be a good game. Should be very good games, yeah.
These were the 4 best regular season teams this season. These were the teams that led their divisions. These are the teams that were the ones we were talking about all season long. The Saints offense, the Chiefs offense, the Rams offense, the Patriots legacy. We talked about that all season long, and these are the teams that deserve to be where they're at, and these are going to be some great NFC and AFC championship games. We're going to have
we
fun
hope
football.
So, right? We hope so, right? I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, these could end up being 2 blowouts again. We were expecting a great weekend this weekend, and we had 3 blowouts out of 4. I remember saying I could only see like 1 blowout, and it ended up being 3.
Yeah.
Even though the scores looked a lot closer. I mean, the Cowboys-Rams was a blowout. Even though the score was closer, the Chiefs and the
Colts.
and Andrew Luck, the Colts, wasn't even. There was not a single point in time where. Well, there was a couple of times. There was the punt block where we were like, "Uh-oh, the Colts are back in it," and then Mahomes just drove it down. And then there was another drive where they scored another touchdown, and then Mahomes and the offense just put the nail back in the coffin. They're like, you know, it's like that kid trying to get out of the pool and he's almost out, and then you just kind of put your foot on him and kick him back in.
Well, that kind of sounds like the Chargers-Patriots game. The Chargers couldn't do anything, and every time they tried to do something small, the Patriots would come down and score again. That Patriots offense did the exact same thing. The Chiefs offense did it. They were kind of hard to watch, some of those games. Once it became a blowout, and you knew that there was just no way to come back, and there was points where the Colts looked like they were going to try to crawl back, like you said, and they just couldn't. They got pushed right back in that pool. Same thing with the Chargers. They looked like they could try to, and they got pushed back in. And every time they got pushed back in, you could see Phillip Rivers' face turn red, and he would start yelling at the ref and yelling at his offensive line. Andrew Luck took a different approach. He stayed cool and calm, but neither of those great quarterbacks could pull it together and get their teams back in those games.
Yeah, it was weird. Like you said, the Patriots game was just weird because right out the gate, it was over. Like it was just something like, oh crap, this is going to be a long game for him. So, but the Cowboys, it was a blowout, but at least they had a little fight. I mean, I don't know why they stopped passing the ball to Amari Cooper, especially since he wasn't double coverage most of the night. But I can't say it was a complete blowout. They put up a fight. So
no, out of all,
I had trouble watching
Cowboys,
that game.
Rams.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry,
Chris
the
America.
Cowboys-Rams game was the least of the blowouts. And
yeah,
there was
a
a moment in time where you thought, holy cow, the Cowboys might pull this off. But just like we said about
Chris America, you there, sir?
I was thinking the same thing.
We just lost them. So I just want to say about this Cowboys-Rams game, the part that disappointed me the most was the fact that every Cowboys game they have Troy Aikman up there with Joe Buck. And it's not that I dislike Joe Buck that much. It's that I really, really dislike Troy Aikman, especially when he's talking about the Cowboys games. Because he's so skewed and he's so biased, and it's like every time there's a penalty against the opponent, he's like, "Oh, that was a tough call there. The ref, man, they shouldn't have called that one." But if the Cowboys, it's like, shut up, Troy Aikman. I guess there's enough Cowboys fans out in the world that they feel like they can get better viewership if Troy Aikman is gonna be the commentator. But I cannot stand Troy Aikman. He drives me absolutely nuts. And I'll be honest with you, I had trouble watching that game. It was a boring game. Troy Aikman was talking. That one kept my interest the least out of all the games. And the other two of the other three games were blowouts. But Troy Aikman does that to me. I don't know what it is, but I can't stand him.
So, you rely too much on the commentary. For the most, say what? Who was that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, for the most part, I don't even listen to the commentary. Like, especially if I have people with me, and we're the commentary. Like I don't even remember hearing Troy, but I do know what you're talking about. He is a world-class hater, so it is what it is.
Now, I kind of wanted to ask you guys this. We got about 4 minutes before we go off the air. I know what my pick is for this question, and that's why I kind of am asking it. Out of the 4 teams that lost this weekend, which team do you think has the brightest future?
I'll go first, and this is what I'm going to say because I counted them out week 6, week 7, and that's the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had no clue that the Eagles would make it to the playoffs. Like, if you asked me, would they even get to the wild card, I was like, probably not, because they were going through some struggling. They were going through some struggles, and the NFC looked strong. So if any team has a bright spot and something to build on, I'm thinking it's Philadelphia. I hope they make the right choice at QB, and I think we'll see them in the playoffs again. I'm not saying they're going to win a Super Bowl, but they're doing something right. 2 years in a row, they've been formidable on almost nothing because, like I said, week 7, week 8, I counted them out. Like, they're not going to make it. So, they got something to build on.
All right. Loudbeard?
So out of the teams that lost, who has the brightest future?
Yeah.
Is that what the
Who has
question
the
was?
brightest
Okay,
future?
so
Yep.
I would say that I don't know. I like the Colts. I think the Colts have the brightest future because I still think Andrew Luck's young, and seeing him bounce back from injury this season, seeing a young defense with some kind of up-and-coming superstars on that defense, a first-year coach who looks like he's got this team under control. I think the Colts have probably the brightest future out of all the teams left. The Eagles, their question mark is, do you roll with Wentz, who showed that he could be a great quarterback, or do you roll with Foles, who's been your guy clutch in the playoffs? And that, to me, is a tough answer. There's no right answer there. It's going to be hard to make that decision. So that could be some turmoil for the Eagles moving forward, because if you hand it over to Wentz, you're not going to guarantee that you get the same production like you did when you had Foles. And Foles, he's had his opportunities in the past, and he kind of faded away. So, I don't know. I love Foles, and I love what he's brought to this team. It would be hard to get away from Wentz and give the keys to Foles. And Foles is a free agent this offseason. The Eagles would have to back the truck up and drop off the money bags.
Yeah, and
you're talking about quarterbacks who have their shot, like Luck. Like, I get it. He's 7, 8 years in the league, and 2 of those were injured. But to me, he's like Rivers all over again. Like, you say, yeah, you know what? Let's go. I want to bet on you. You're my guy. And nothing. You know, so I don't know, man. He just seems like he's the Rivers career path. Good enough to get to the playoffs. Good enough to win 1 or 2 games. Never good enough to get past into the AFC Championship or even the Super Bowl. I don't know.
Honestly,
it's just something about the guy.
Honestly, you guys both are right. I mean, the Eagles are a defending Super Bowl champ. They've shown that they can get there 2 years in a row in the playoffs with or without their star running back, with or without their star quarterback. So I like that team, and I like the Colts too. The Colts was actually the team that I was thinking of when I thought of this question, because after the game was over, I thought the Colts can't hang their heads. This is a very, very young football team. I mean, their offensive line is extremely young, and they played, for the most part, pretty decent. They didn't play that good against the Chiefs, but they won 10 of 11 games, or 11 of 12 games, whichever it was, to get to that point. The fact that they were in the playoffs is nothing short of a miracle for how good they played down the stretch. I think if Andrew Luck can stay healthy, and if these other guys can develop and become better players, if their new coach can develop and become a better coach, and then you add in another draft where you plug in some more guys, I think the Colts are a team that the rest of the NFC or AFC South have to look out for. But that's all of our time, man. It's 6:56.
Thank you all for listening in. It's been a great show. We look forward to being back on tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Please tune in.
We out.
Andrew Luck needs more luck.
Hey, Maroon 5 on that halftime show. What do you guys think?
Oh, Maroon 5.
Halftime show?
Personally, I'd like Weird Al. I'm still waiting for a Weird Al Super Bowl halftime.
I'll go for Janet Jackson again.
Ooh, love Janet.